to start with an overview of the history of the CPA Alberta Tax Preparation Filing Program. Go ahead, Renee.
Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Renee Fleming, and it is my pleasure to be with you this afternoon. I am the Member Engagement Advisor at CPA Alberta, and I am entering the 4th year of administering the CPA Alberta Tax Preparation Program. So Peggy and Stephanie have already taken care of the land acknowledgement. So thank you so much, ladies, for doing that. I'm going to I've broken up my chatting today into a few core sections. And as previously mentioned, I am open to answering questions after each section or at the end, whatever works best for you. I'm based in Calgary, and my pronouns are she, her. So I'm going to start with an overview and history of the CPA Alberta Tax Preparation and Filing Program. CPA Alberta started a previous iteration of the tax clinic program in the 1970s, and it has been involved with preparing and filing returns for low-income adults and seniors since that. Yes.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
There's been a question in the chat that some people are having some audio issues.
Okay.
I can hear you fine, but is there anybody else that is not hearing audio right now for Renee? No? Okay, the person that experienced it, you can just, I'll answer you in the chat here. Then Renee, you can continue.
Okay. Thanks, Stephanie. So we started in the early 70s, as I had mentioned, and we have been involved in our communities across Alberta since that time. And previous iterations of our tax clinic program, so from the mid-1970s up until 2020, our tax clinic program was primarily a face-to-face program where CPA Alberta would work with community partners, so those in community working directly with seniors or low-income Albertans, and there would be a face-to-face transaction essentially, and face-to-face interactions with taxpayers to prepare and file someone's tax returns. Then, as we all know, 2020 happened and everything needed to pivot. So CPA Alberta also pivoted, and we took a step back and reevaluated our tax clinic program. And we ended up relaunching our tax preparation program, which started in April of 2020 in response to COVID-19. And now our tax preparation and filing program is totally virtual. So we use online file storage, we use cutting edge technology developed in-house at CPA Alberta for partners and for file management, and also for our volunteers to connect with community throughout the province. So in speaking about volunteers, I want to do an amazing shout out to Sandy Lyons, who has joined us today. And Sandy is one of our tax preparation and filing volunteers. So Sandy, I'm so pleased to have you join us today, and thank you so much. Sandy, if I'm missing anything, please do not hesitate to jump in. Happy for your feedback. So we have approximately 70 individual locations for our individual locations as community partners, and approximately 25 community partners for our tax prep program. Those were last year's figures, and we completed approximately 1,250 returns over the past tax year, so in April and May. There are a variety of free tax preparation and filing services that are available in community. So I want to recognize and honor that there's a variety of ways that folks can get their taxes done. Some of the pieces that are unique to the CPA Alberta model is that we are totally virtual, so 100% online, as I had mentioned. And then all of our volunteers are either CPA Alberta members in good standing or are PEP candidates in good standing. So that means that everybody is affiliated with CPA Alberta and the standards and professionalism that we expect of our members. And also that our tax filing year is only March and April. So there are a variety of other programs which they do taxes kind of throughout the year. They help with preparing and filing taxes throughout the year, and that's not our case. We focus on the primary March and April timeframes, and our tax prep program is also one that only does the current year's taxes. So if anybody has not filed their taxes for a few years, unfortunately, some of the other programs that are available would be my recommendation, because our volunteers only have access to the information for the current tax year. The CPA Alberta volunteers have no affiliation with the CRA, so there's no our volunteers don't have the capability to take a look at anybody's CRA specific information, and that's something that's unique to our program as well. I also wanted to mention about why filing taxes is important. So filing taxes for everybody is important, but especially for seniors, because the government of Canada and also the government of Alberta bases benefits that are available to seniors based on tax information that has been previously provided. So if there's no current tax information provided for a particular individual, they may be missing out on government benefits and supports that would be available to folks who have already filed their taxes. Are there any questions about the overview? And Sandy, is there anything you would like to add? I'm going to totally put you on the spot.
I think it's important to understand that we work with the partners to make sure that information is kept confidential and dealt with proper, as we are working in a virtual world, that security is our highest priority to assist. And of course, for myself, I'm a 35-year CPA, I think, or close to it. Don't check the records or anything. I'm rounded.
I won't.
But you know, I became involved a couple of years ago. Last year was my first real time because I'm now semi-retired and have that time available. And a lot of our individuals are either training CPAs or CPAs that find themselves now with that time to provide assistance. And we welcome, last year I'd hoped that our number would be well over 2,000 returns that we would do, but unfortunately we didn't get there. But who knows, maybe this year.
Sandy, thanks for talking about that stat too. I appreciate that. So we do have this, if I'm going to take a look at my stats, because I just ran that the other day. Currently we have an estimated number of returns of almost 2,500 as of today or as of yesterday. And we're very fortunate to have the dedication of many of our members, Sandy included, that have committed to being able to do returns. So we do have a little bit more volunteer capacity than we currently have returns. So we're able to facilitate folks getting their taxes done. Any other questions or comments? Great, thanks for advancing the slide, Peggy. So we have information and we have information for community partners. So community partner in our definition is an organization or agency that works specifically with seniors to help get their taxes done in a safe and timely manner. So we have a application form which is available on our website, and I can copy and paste. I have put that in the chat, but I can copy and paste it so that it's top of mind. We also provide information sessions for all of our community partners. That's held in February. And at that time, we go over the logistics and some recommendations for working as a community partner with us, including how to navigate the partner portal, which we've developed. And Sandy brought up a really good point, which I want to reiterate, is that we take individuals' privacy and the cybersecurity very seriously. So we don't do anything via email. It's all via a secure portal and an Azure file storage system, so that everything is compliant with privacy legislation. I'll take the next slide, Peggy. Thank you. So resources that are provided by CPA Alberta, we do have the mandatory training, which I've previously mentioned. We have an extensive community partner resource guide. So that guide really expands on the information that I was speaking about today. And it also outlines like roles and responsibilities of both the community partner, CPA Alberta, and CPA Alberta volunteers, being the members in good standing or the PEP candidates. Also, we have the specific community partner portal, which we use for effective and efficient file transfer to CPA Alberta volunteers, and the mandatory training. So we provide, and we're happy to provide support to our community partners in whichever way usually is necessary. We do recognize and appreciate that sometimes taxes and completing taxes causes anxiety or is stressful for individuals, and we want to support the completion of taxes in a safe environment, but also in understanding and wanting to help. So I also want to comment that my colleagues and I, who have been involved with this program for going on 4 years or 4 tax seasons, we have heard a lot from folks like yourselves who are sharing comments from your community members regarding the safety of the transmission of information online. And we appreciate that for individuals that you get to work with, sometimes having like reliable internet is something that is challenging. Well, for our program, they don't need to have reliable internet. As the community partner, you would need to have a reliable internet, but the people that you serve don't need to have reliable internet. And it's it's very safe. Our portals are safe and secure, and it's more secure than even transmitting emails. So I know that there is hesitation. There is some hesitation with moving to a totally virtual model, but that's the way that our program will work for this year and for the foreseeable future. In addition to some of those three items that are listed, we have CPA Alberta volunteers that we've recruited already for the program. We're currently at approximately 135 individuals who are getting ready to assist with our tax prep program for this year. A lot of those folks are returning volunteers. About 120 of them are returning. So we're so happy to have like a dedicated group of professionals that are willing and able to support our program. Sandy, is there anything else that you would like to add?
I think that I'll say that, you know, it's understood that our partners have time limits and whatnot. We try and address those time limits as best as we can and make it as simple to upload and get us the documentation, knowing that they are an interface with that senior who's looking for the help usually, or the low income individual.
Thanks, Sandy. Are there any questions from the floor at this time?
No, right now.
Okay. Excellent, thank you. I'll take, I think, what's probably the last slide, Peggy. Thank you. So the next steps are to fill out the community partner application form, which I put in the chat. I would strongly encourage anybody who is interested to fill out that application form as soon as possible, because the deadline is fast approaching. And if and in fact, the deadline is tomorrow, but I don't want to put undue strain and pressure on you. So if anybody that is on this call today, which is January the 12th, 2023, anybody who's on our specific call today has specific questions or they would like additional information, please reach out to us at taxprep@cpaalberta.ca, and we can have a conversation about becoming a community partner for the 2022 tax season, which will be in March and April of 2023. An additional piece that I wanted to mention is that our tax prep program begins on March the 1st and runs until the filing deadline or April 30th. So we plan and time our specific program based on when the slips are available to everybody and when information should mostly be out to the folks that we serve. I recall that last year there was a delay in some folks receiving some information, and that delay extended until the middle of March. But I haven't heard anything yet for this year that there's been any delay. So if folks are wondering about when information should be received from the CRA and government bodies, it should be sent out at the end of February and should be received at the beginning of April. Sorry, the beginning of March. I'm jumping ahead of myself.
Just a reminder, if you have any questions and you put them in the chat, your name won't be mentioned. So feel free to ask questions in the chat if you're nervous to ask in person to Renee here.
Absolutely.
So right now we have some time, around 30 minutes to ask questions about for Renee, about the program. Would you like to provide some sort of review or overall? And then we can start taking some of the questions for this season.
Sandy, is there anything you would like to add that maybe I missed?
I think you've covered it well, Renee. I think, all I can do is encourage the individuals on this call to look at this opportunity to assist your client base and within the parameters of being low income and senior. There are some standards that are required for our assistance on a free basis. It can get a little bit complex there, and I'm not sure, Rennie, that you actually dealt with those thresholds. You might want to just speak to that.
Sandy, that's an excellent point. Thank you so much. So our program is designed for low-income Albertans and seniors, and we do have some income thresholds. So those income thresholds are determined to be, it's in groups of like, for a single person and then a couple, and then it increases from there. So somebody who is single their income needs for eligibility for our program needs to be $35,000 per year or under. Folks that are two people is approximately between 40 and 42. I can never exactly remember that exact number, and then it increases from there. If folks are married, all of their information needs to be submitted together. So if, for example, somebody is living independently out in community, but their partner is in a long-term care center, both tax returns need to be uploaded, or both information needs to be uploaded simultaneously for the maximum benefits to the individual. Unfortunately, we aren't able to complete returns for folks that have passed away. So anyone who has passed away between January 1st of 2020 and December 31st of 2020, they need to get the services of one of my CPA Alberta member colleagues to complete a final return. But if someone passes away between January 1st, 2023 and the deadline, then their tax return for 2020 can still be completed, but in this time next year, the person who is responsible for filing the passed away person's return will need to go to a CPA Alberta member in a professional setting. Thanks, Sandy. That was a good one. That started another train of thought, so I appreciate that.
That's awesome. Thank you, Renee. So right now we can continue. If anybody has questions that would like to ask Renee, please unmute, or you can share your questions on the chat.
We have a quiet group today here.
So Renee, would you like to go over some of the deadlines for this year again?
Sure. So our deadlines, our community partner application deadline is tomorrow at 4 p.m. But so tomorrow being Friday, February the 13th at 4 p.m. MST. But there is some, so we would like to stick with that deadline. We do have training sessions in February. Everything is hosted via Zoom, so we would provide that information. And then the tax filing season and our tax preparation and filing program goes from March 1st of 2023 through to April 30th of 2023.
There is a question about if you can please talk about the advantage and disadvantage of filing online versus paper.
Sure. So I'm not an accountant. I get to work with CPAs, but I am not an accountant. And Sandy, I'm wondering if you feel comfortable answering that question.
I guess that's, I'm going to put on my video so people can see me here. I'm trying at least. Let's just hope that it takes here. I'm dealing with a little bit of instability, but the whole concept of dealing with an online filing is to speed up the process of getting the assessment completed. And when you do a paper filed return, they can be delayed past April 30th. You know, a lot of the subsidized housing organizations are looking for that assessment to be received as quickly as possible. And by having an electronic filing, usually the assessment process is well, it can be in minutes, to be quite honest, from the time of submission. And of course, it's pre-population of the documents because of the software we use pretty much makes it a little bit foolproof to have a transposition error occur that can be problematic with the actual filing. When it comes to that question could have had a second part to it. I'm guessing that this might be part of it. I'm just going to go back off, seeing as my video is unstable. And that is that the securing of the information to us through the portal, we're not dealing with pieces of paper, we're dealing with what is digitally provided. And that has its own security feature and a little bit of protection from the point of view that you as the intermediary client partner, you know, it's what is captured in that scan and forward through the portal that is a record that can be referred back to if there should be concerns later that information has been missed or incomplete. It protects both you as the partner and ourselves with the client that you're trying to serve at the time, who can be experiencing high stress around this, as Renee has indicated. It's key to realize that we're here to try and make sure that especially those low-income individuals that are struggling are maximizing their available resources through seniors benefits, as well as other programs that of course the province has recently been announcing, and how people will be able to access that as going forward.
Thanks so much, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy. I wonder if there's an opportunity to look at some frequent and asked questions about this program. So
Sure.
organizations will have, if they apply for organizations, they will receive a software that they will be using.
So there is we have a partner portal, which is totally internet based. We prefer, we suggest using Google Chrome, but it is an online, it's an interface. I don't know if I would call it a software, but it would be an interface of for file storage and mostly for file sharing and file transmission. So we do have a goal of having individuals once someone's return in case file has been screened by CPA Alberta staff and distributed to a volunteer. We do ask that our volunteers complete someone's return, prepare and file someone's return within 5 business days. And on average, when all of the information is provided at the start, it takes 3 to 4 days, and sometimes even quicker than that. Obviously, the sooner that individuals are able to file, like to gather their information and provide that to us for preparation and filing, it gets to the volunteer sooner and earlier in the season. And usually our volunteers have a little bit more capacity earlier because there's not as many people that bring their information forward earlier. So it gets to a volunteer much quicker. And as a result, it gets to the CRA much quicker, and refunds and everything also are generated much quicker. So if at all possible, I would highly recommend a sooner file transmission rather than later in the tax in the tax season for rapidity of filing, but also of receiving that really important refund that a lot of folks are looking for at that particular time of year.
Renee, what would be some of the responsibilities of the community partner with this program?
Sure. So some of the main responsibility is to collect the information from the seniors that you're serving through a personal information checklist, which we have, and transmitting that information to CPA Alberta, and then on to volunteers such as Sandy through our partner portal. So it's collecting sitting down with folks, collecting their information, filling out the personal information checklist, which is a list of questions that are required based on the software that we use, and transmitting all of that information to CPA Alberta.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that the training for volunteers will happen in February.
So the training for our community partners happens in February, and the training for volunteers is in March. So for the folks that are on this call today, the training that I would point folks towards is the mandatory training in February, but there is ongoing support for our community partners, both now in February and then throughout the tax filing season.
If organizations run out of time, is it possible to continue after the deadline?
By run out of time, do you mean there's too many to file? That's a conversation that we have. The filing deadline is the filing deadline. So that is the deadline that is communicated by the CRA, and we need to abide by that deadline.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if there are not more questions, we want to Thank you, Renee, for participating and for everyone to come to this session. We want to also ask you for more information to check out Core Alberta at corealberta.ca. We also ask you if you can participate and complete our survey and let us know how would you like to engage moving forward and with other sessions. We really thank you very much and everyone for participating today. Thank you, Sandy, for joining us and helping us as well. This session has been hosted through Core Alberta. We value everyone's contributions today, and we will invite you to fill out our survey, as I mentioned. We will send an email after the session for all the ones who have registered, providing you with a link of the resources that we spoke today, and also with the information from our guest speaker. If you have not joined Core Alberta, we invite you to join in. corealberta.ca, sign up. You can receive newsletters, information about events, program webinars, funding opportunities, and a lot more discussion posts as well.